win a consumer experience digitally is far beyond the West. I imagine that that is something that everyone in this room has felt to some extent. I've had a couple conversations here at the conference with people about their experience in Chinese vehicles with Chinese apps. And the reality is, it is still very early in the connected car journey, and there is lots of time for us to build experiences that are incredible. And I want to start with a simple premise, which is the connected car happiness is not just about the OEM app. There are digital experiences, there are social experiences, and all of this needs to be unified. Now, to get there, what we need to do are build some new building blocks. And so I'm going to talk today about a couple of building blocks: community, interoperability, new digital experiences, and privacy. And with these, we can create a unified connected car experience that delivers happiness. Before we get there, let's talk a little bit about the problems in connected car happiness today. Data tells us two stories. The consultants at McKinsey have done lots of studies on connected cars, and they have all of this data that says users really want to pay for stuff. Most recently, they said 50% of users are extremely likely to pay for connected car features. In fact, the more premium the car, the more likely users are to pay. McKinsey even broke it down feature by feature, niche features, bundle features, must-haves. They said all of this stuff, they put it on a spectrum. People want to pay for this, how much? But for some reason, the usage and the happiness is not there. I spoke with an OEM exec recently, last week, who said our daily active users, our weekly active users, our monthly active users are in the single digits. JD Power has said that the mobile app is the #3 most commonly cited problem. The adoption of OEM apps is actually flat, despite significant incentives. And Sahas, who's one of our partners, he's somewhere in the conference here today, his company, Smart Car, put out a report, 74% of drivers are unhappy. So what's the disconnect? Well, there's more data to this story. First, we've got an uphill battle. If you look at the top categories for mobile applications, it's social networking, it's games, it's media. Car apps do not even register on the top categories. And that's a problem because for most users, the top 4 apps that they use represent 80% of their attention. So now we're scrapping it out for 20% of the attention with all the other apps in a user's life. To make matters worse, we've got some zero-sum competition going on. Most households have 2 or more cars at home, which means more than likely 2 or more apps, and all of a sudden it is a lot harder to get a user's attention. So our problems. We've got users who say they want to pay for stuff, but they don't. We have an incredibly hard job to crack the attention market, and we're locked in some competition. This digital experience harms sales. Now we're going to talk about some solutions, but before we get there, I also want to talk about the personas. These are the types of people who are using our apps or not using them yet. So we're going to talk about how those personas today, how people have already embraced community, interoperability, new digital experiences, and privacy. Community is the new social. 76% of people who are online are engaged in some online community. That means they're in Facebook groups, they're in Discord servers, they're on Reddit forums. And very importantly, these communities influence the way people buy. Now, the good news is there's already a lot of organic online communities. I pulled a random sampling of communities from online. These are Facebook groups, these are Reddit forums. Some of these have thousands of members, tens of thousands of members. Some have hundreds of thousands of members who are already talking about their cars. The bad news is they are not having a connected car experience in these forums. In fact, I don't want to pick on FordPass. They were the only one that I even found. There's just 500 people talking about FordPass in the Facebook group there. This is an opportunity. People want to talk about their cars online, and they need to have that connect to their digital experience. And it's not even that they want to talk about their cars online. people are actually already giving their cars virtual identities. These are Instagram accounts that people have created for their vehicles. People are craving to have a connected digital experience with their car. One of the areas that I love to look at as a model for connected services growth and for user adoption of these types of services is smart home tech. About 43 million households in the US already have smart home tech. That figure has been growing 10% year over year. And one of the things that I love about it is they've built an interoperable, tons of companies have built interoperable tech. So most smart homes don't use a single monolithic vendor. They're connecting lots of different sensors and tools to create a unified experience. It is that interoperability that can make for a better car experience. In fact, just like we're already seeing this in social, we're seeing people already take their cars and bring them into the smart home interoperable world. So the leading open source solution for smart home tech, Home Assistant, has already 21 car-related integrations. So we've got users who are talking about their cars in online communities, giving their cars virtual identities. We've got people who are creating interoperable integrations and also looking for new digital experiences. Mazda, Porsche, Mercedes, and others have launched NFT collections to play with digital ownership and innovation. Consumers are starting to use AI tools to better understand their car. Here I am asking ChatGPT, the GIF won't load, asking ChatGPT about my car. It doesn't know a whole lot, but at least I'm trying. And in all of these experiences, if we could bring the car technology into these worlds, the user would have a more rich experience. We've started down that path here at DIMO. We partnered with a company called Moken. We've built a mapping challenge. As users drive their cars who are connected to our platform, they're able to map cell networks and some other valuable tools. And this kind of gamification is available if we make it open. And users want all kinds of apps. There are performance apps, there's road tripping apps, there's car meetup apps, there's collectors apps. All of these can become part of the connected car ecosystem and the connected car experience. Now it's great. We might have community, we might have interoperability, we'll have all these new digital experiences, but we do need one last ingredient, and that's privacy. Users are hyper privacy aware. There's privacy headlines almost every single day. 9 out of 10 Americans consider it to be an important issue, and this stat really blew my mind. 1 in 4 Americans has to sign a privacy policy every day. This is not fading to the background. People are being made aware and reminded of privacy concerns daily. And this is one area where our industry has not done so hot. McKinsey, they did another study. They found that the automotive industry ranks pretty poorly when it comes to industry trust among other big industries. There have been some recent headlines, and many automakers have been in the headlines for privacy controls. And of course, about 6 months ago, the Mozilla Foundation said that cars were the single worst category they'd ever reviewed for privacy. This is not an issue that we can sweep under the rug and needs to go away. Users are going to be thinking about this for decades to come. So where do we go? We've got our apps. We're creating, marketing teams are trying their digital experiences. There's this whole world of new stuff, whether it's new experiences, interoperability, AI. Like, how do we put this all together? Should automakers start building social media platforms? I don't think that's the answer. Should they build games and AI experiences and try to build their own communities? I just don't think that that's going to work out. So much replicated effort, so many third-party developers already building these things. We need to build open, we need to build composable, and we need to let third-party developers create some of these experiences. And actually, at DIMO, we believe that it really starts with a single premise, which is that users should own the digital twin for their car. As a driver, as somebody who owns a car, I should be in control of all of the data from the very start of what is going on inside my car, and I should have the ability to share that data with the parties that I'm interested in. I should be able to do that granularly. I could pick and choose insurance companies, digital experiences, games, AIs. That data should be in my control so that I can share it with the people that I want to. Not only does it give me privacy, but it also gives me the composability that allows us to invite other developers to create these experiences. Today, Cars are online, but they're not interoperable. I showed a whole ton of experiences that are available to people from the social, from communities, to some of these other ones that just cannot accept connected car data today. Tesla is starting to open up their APIs in a way that's fairly unique. There's a handful of apps that have built with Tesla's APIs. We're one of them. What that's shown is drivers connect to these apps and they find the car more valuable. It's a model, and there's lots of other OEMs that have started to open up their APIs as well. And what we're seeing is that users can embrace these third-party apps, and the car can actually become a monetizable form of compute. We've been stuck in this very linear flywheel thinking where we'll get drivers to use our OEM apps. That'll lead to some more connections. It'll drive us to create some more features. We'll make the app better. And we have a nice flywheel. And this very well may work out. It's been getting better and better. It's what we've been doing for the last decade. But we think that there's a way to make this flywheel exponential in a way that delivers happiness. We need to give users more ways to connect. What if instead of starting in the app, I could start with one of these digital experiences that the marketing team creates, or I could start in a car forum or in a community and start my connected car journey there. If we create open source tools and open standards, we can have other developers create more of these experiences and lead users into the connected car. We can create these virtual automotive marketplaces where developers are bringing new features every single day, and these third-party apps will drive adoption and happiness. We've built a version of that with the DIMO mobile app, our open marketplace, and we've been able to monetize and create happiness with drivers from virtually any car all over the world. Our building blocks are community, interoperability, new digital experiences, and privacy. And if we embrace these, we can create a better connected car experience. So again, if we can open up these developer APIs, support digital communities, provide a privacy-first orientation and framework, and let developers build new experiences, we can create a new approach. At DIMO, we're enabling developers and enterprises to do just that, where they can leverage vehicle connectivity and data to create magical experiences. And we've built a privacy-first virtual marketplace infrastructure to support next-generation connected car experiences. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about our developer platform, you can check out this QR code here, and you can always contact me. I'm Alex Rawitz, one of the co-founders of DIMO, and I'd love to chat after this.
So what is like a roadmap to you guys in, say, next 3 years? Like, how is it going to turn out? Like, what do you see as a future of connectivity on this?
So the question was, I think, what is the roadmap for all of this, and how does it all turn out? I think that a couple of key things are just going to be seeing more apps and services in the automotive space build unique connected car experiences where a user can show up with their data and say, hey, here's my connected car. I'd actually like to connect with your automotive marketplace, your insurance company, your maintenance company, or something like that. But one thing that is kind of hard to communicate is if you went back to 2003 and said to somebody, what is the app store on your phone going to look like? They couldn't have told you Instagram and Uber and Seamless and all of these things that we use. And we're at that moment in the connected car space. I truly believe that a lot of the utilities that are being built into these apps are great, but connected car happiness is actually going to come when we can see the new stuff, the games and the road tripping apps and the AI experiences and the stuff that we haven't even thought of yet. Because that's what really made phones magical. It's the app store with all of the choice, with all of the options and all of the fun stuff, not just the how do you manage your phone and expenses and basics.
Any other questions before I get mine in? Okay, my question, because looking at that stat about how unhappy customers and drivers are, where do you think the disconnect is between what the OEs are giving us and what the consumers and customers are wanting? Because therein lies, I would think, the unhappiness.
There are definitely some basics, connectivity and has been a big problem. Some OEM APIs go in and out. We've actually seen some of that data from some of the APIs we use. So there are users that will find, oh, okay, the app's working great, but then all of a sudden it won't work. Something won't happen. A connection broke. That's obviously very frustrating to users. I think a lot of it is also that users just like a lot of the features that have been built are moment in time. You know, maybe I'm turning on my car, maybe I'm unlocking it. There's not a whole lot of engagement there. So relative to the other apps that I can use, there's just not a whole lot to like. Like maybe it's fine, but it's just nothing that's drawing me in and exciting me as a user. And at the end of the day, building a mobile app's not just about making something that works and is okay. It's about building something that's exciting that people want to embrace.
Well, that's a perfect, literally my next question was, are OEs giving their customers a lot of stuff they really don't want? Because at Wards, you know, we evaluate the interior design and user interface, and that includes how that stuff that they put in the car is accessed, how well it works, is it seamless, or is it buried somewhere, right? So I'm actually of the growing opinion, that they're giving your customers a lot of stuff. Very few of them, relatively few, want.
I think that's where, and I'm sure that these, obviously there's a lot of market research that's going into that, and I'm sure they have good reasons for building some of the things that they have. I do think that it comes back to this, like we're a little bit early. And so if you were to ask the average person, what do you want out of a connected car experience? They might tell you, some people have never had that before. They're going to tell you a few basic things. Are they going to really sit down and imagine the creative white space that you can have, with games and social and communities? If you just ask, what do you want to do in your car? What would make your life easier? You're going to get a narrower response from users. I do think that there's some disconnect there. Fundamentally, this always comes back to what do people want and what is the market providing. So there's obviously a disconnect. I'm more of the opinion maybe it's not stuff that they don't want, but it's just not enough yet.
Okay. I'm reminded, based on what you just said, of the old Henry Ford thing. If I asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
Yeah.
One last question before we move into the next presentation. Companies are telling us, the OEs are telling us that Apple Auto and Android are going away. You're not going to be able to mirror our cell phones, our smartphones on software drive vehicles. How big a deal do you think that is for the user and for the customer?
I think that's huge, and I'll be curious to see how that plays out. I'm reminded, I think recently Minneapolis said they were going to kick out Uber and Lyft, the legislators. Mm-hmm. And there was so much blowback that everyone was like, what? Like, Uber and Lyft is great. Like, and the legislators then had to flip back and say, all right, we'll work out a deal where they can stay. People have said pretty declaratively they want Apple and Google products in their cars, and they want that seamless experience. Now, again, that's just infotainment. That's not deep into the car, and there's all kinds of, when we talk about the connected car, it goes beyond infotainment as well. So I think that there's probably going to be some winners and losers, but you're going to get back into this very fragmented world where what my Toyota can do is different than what my Tesla can do. And I can have this insurance with this car and this one with that car, and maybe I can play this game here and that game there, but it's going to create a fragmented experience that makes it harder for developers to create in that space. And that's just going to harm competition. It's just going to make it harder for people to engage.
Hey, any other questions from the floor before I transition? No. Okay. Hey, Alex, thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
I